Welcome back to Mark Hollop's The Vlog, everyone. Thanks for joining in again on this beautiful, somewhat kind of a snowy day. As you can see, there's snow all over the road, and of course it's kind of lightly snowing again and again and again, but that's okay. We're in the Jag. We're going to enjoy it nonetheless. As you can see there, I use any excuse to get the car out on the road. Now, obviously it's not optimal driving conditions, and even with all-wheel drive, the car still likes to do a little spin at the back end, but it's still a great drive. So if you watched the last video, you know I was talking really largely about driving these F-Types and the fact that they are keepers, because a lot of the parts last a long time, the bodies don't rot out and they don't rust. But I had a great viewer who sent me a note and showed me some pictures. I want to share with you guys some of the pictures that he had sent me, because in fact, I stand corrected, everybody. There are some corrosion related issues with these F-Types. But before we get into that, let's talk about the featured comment in today's video. So the featured comment today happens to be from Hotshot Haven, who has to say, the rear subframe is under a TSB for rust. Apparently they skimped on the nickel plating on the steel rear subframe, and it just so happens to be under the car where you can't recognize it or you can't see it. So thanks again, Hotshot Haven, and that just so happens today's video is about that topic, about the rear subframe. Do these corrode on these cars? I got a comment and I've got email and pictures from a viewer, and as well I'm going to share with you that today. So at the end of the video, we'll definitely be sure to show you what my car looks like underneath and whether my car has a problem as well, and then we'll kind of summarize what that's all about. So thanks a lot, and if you want to be featured in the next video, be sure to drop a line, a comment in today's video. That's going to help you get noticed on the next video. Be sure to do that. Well, first of all, before we get into this, I really got to start by saying I wouldn't regret a moment of it. Here, as you can see, we have a brand new F-Type. That's the newer one. You can tell it's got the flatter headlights. This one's covered in a little bit of snow dust there. Maybe I should take one for a drive at some point here. What do you guys think? Take one of these new ones for a test drive? I think that might be in order. But whether you're driving a brand new one or whether you're driving one of these older generation cars, they are phenomenal. But you know, before we get to talking about that specific corrosion related issue, let's take a quick look at some of the Porsches here on the local dealership. What do we have here? A Boxster. I like it. I like that front valence on that car. Looks pretty swanky for sure. Then we have a Cayenne, and we have a, well, we have an older 911. This one looks like a 997 Cabriolet. And then we have the Panamera, and we have a Macan here. And oh, by the way, for those of you guys who've been watching for a while, you'll know I was shopping for one of these, a Macan for the wife, but we ended up moving on and we ended up buying the Benz instead. These are great though, by the way. We really did enjoy it. We just made a change, a shift in plans. And what do we have here? Mr. Electric. And lots of SUVs, as you can see. Oh no, it's a BMW. Oh, we have a hybrid. Oh, and a diesel. And another hybrid here. I'm always a fan of the 911s. Here we have a Boxster. And we have a 911 Turbo Cabriolet. Not sure about that color, not really my first choice, but hey, they're all great cars. We have a 911, this looks like a 991. And then we have another, well, whatever, not really my flavor. And then right there, guys, we have a 911. I love the Porsche 911. I am not gonna lie one bit. Those cars have always done it for me. They're great cars, but this is a brand new one, a 992 generation car. So if you saw the video last week, you'll know I talked a lot about the way these cars can last for pretty much ever. They're easy to fix, easy to maintain, and they're built of materials that can last. But a gentleman by the name of Clive Winters actually had commented on this video, or actually my last week's video, that he has had experience with his F-Type, that largely these cars are pretty much corrosion free, but there are in fact a couple spots that are very problematic, and there's a bit of a trend there, and it's also apparently well documented. And if you want to find out a little bit more about it, I'll include the link down to one of the forums that you can find this information on, and I'll put that link down in the comments section, so be sure to click on that if you want a little more information about this or about any other topics related to F-Types. This particular site looks like it's in the UK, but regardless, it's going to apply pretty much anywhere. But again, thanks to Clive for supplying us these pictures, but let's just do a walk through some of the pictures and explain some of these things. And as you can see underneath, his car is very, very clean. Exhaust system is tidy. The undercarriage is relatively clean. So it's not that the car has been neglected. There's none of that. Like, you can tell Clive takes care of his car. And actually you can see it up on a man lift or on a lift. You could see the car shines. You could tell the pride of ownership, as we all kind of have for these cars, because honestly, they really are that good. These F Types, there's really not much else like it. These are exceptional vehicles. But anyway, it just shows pride of ownership. But unfortunately, there is a part under the undercarriage, and if you look very closely, on the rear subframe. So there's some frame members along the bottom back end of the car that run from left to right, and a bunch of attachments and different bolted connections, and you'll see a mass amount of corrosion on that one part. Well, and there's a very, very good possibility that if you lift your car up, you'll start to see some corrosion. Now, obviously, even cars they say that are a little bit newer are still starting to show signs in early years. You know, it doesn't seem to take very long before this corrosion sets in, and it sounds like it's a bit of an issue with the treatment from the factory of these parts. Now, take a look underneath. When I get back, I'm going to take a slide underneath my car right here and see what shape my particular back end looks like, and I'll let you know. But let's take a look at that shortly. Now, looking at these pictures, it's pretty obvious that that is a very isolated issue. You don't have corrosion on the rest of the body. As a matter of fact, again, as I mentioned in the last video, a lot of the parts, you know, whether it's the sides or the rockers or the hood, a lot of these parts are aluminum on these cars, which is great because it'll virtually last forever unless you damage it, physically, mechanically injure the car. It won't corrode into oblivion like a lot of the cars from, you know, yesteryear. Look at some of the older Jags, the old X Type, but these cars generally will hold up very, very well. And so in addition to this, Clive had reached out to me via email. And by the way, Clive, thanks again. I do very, very much appreciate your comments here and for that email that you sent. So Clive sent an email which summarized the rest of the corrosion didn't look quite as bad. Once you can actually remove some of these parts. Apparently you can unbolt it, take it down, blast it, bead blast it, do whatever. There's a lot of different treatments you can do for these cars. Clean it up and then maybe treat it with a proper finish coat, because the way they're treated from the factory obviously wasn't adequate. Now, I've also had people respond in the comments last week that said that this was a problem more prevalent on the earlier cars. So like if you had a, say, a 2015, that was more of an issue, but people are saying if you have a 2018, that wasn't so much the issue, that the problem was identified and rectified. So we'll stay tuned with that. But my car here is an 18, and we're gonna test that theory. Now these things are great, and here's the reason why we buy them. Well, these things are always incredible to drive. Here, let's try that one more quick time here. Whoa! Wow, that was incredible. Hard launches out of the hole. So much fun. That's why we buy these cars, guys. Now, even though the roads are a little cool and moist, even with all-wheel drive, this car still managed to get loose in the back end. This really is the European muscle car. But as you can see, there's a little bit of snow coming down again as we're driving along here. We've got some fresh snow on the road here in this section. It's strange because here it's snowing, but you know, a kilometer back there was no snow on the road. It was dry, but it was cool. I mean, as you can see the temperature here, right now we're looking at -8. It's -8 degrees Celsius, so it's a little chilly out here today. But this is what it's like in Canada, right? What do we get? I mean, 2/3 of the year really means that we have snow on the ground or partial variations of that, and it's always typically a little cooler here. Okay, we made her home. Let's take a look underneath the car real quick here and see if there's anything obvious on my car that shows signs of corrosion. Like I said, the body is pretty much next to immaculate, but let's take a look underneath here. Let's crawl under there. Oh, yeah. See? You see what they got? So looking under my car, all of this upper stuff is in good shape. As I look around, and the floorboards here, everything's good there. Nothing problematic there. But if you look underneath, I see some corrosion on this cross member over there. And this one here is the one that Clive was talking about here. If you look across, mine has some corrosion on it already as well. Again, this piece too. So as we look under here, you can see all kinds of goodness. Everything's clean underneath here. The whole body structure looks really sound. This is good. Even underneath here is really solid, and that's all aluminum. But as you can see, we've got some corrosion starting on here as well, just like Clive showed. And we've got some corrosion along this member here, this cross piece. Similar to Clive's, this one's not quite as bad, but mine's an 18. And then over there, you've got a little bit on that cross piece as well. I noticed there is some corrosion there, guys. What's up with that? But again, the rest of the body is very, very clean. So there seems to be a little bit of a trend here. I mean, while the rest of the car is immaculate pretty much, there's a couple of steel cross members that are showing some flaking and some light corrosion. Now, they're not rotted through by any means, and the car is an 18, so it's going on 3 years old now, but that still is too much corrosion in my mind. So at some point, we're gonna have a look at that, and I'm gonna do a little bit more inquiring here as to what an action plan could be to make that right or make that better. Maybe there's some improvements that we can make, or maybe it's a warranty thing. As well, if you look at that comment at the beginning, there was a suggestion about being a TSB. So we'll inquire about that and let you know as we go. But besides that, these cars are absolutely amazing to drive. And if you guys want to learn a lot more about the F Type or just want to follow the channel, because we're featuring lots of amazing cars on my channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button or just give it a good hit, just like that. And then you can join in as well. Don't forget the notifications bell, because that'll also give you that special little alarm to tell you that the next video is out. Thanks again, and don't forget the comment, because if you drop a comment, your comment may be picked on the next video. Thanks again, everybody. Hope to see you real soon. Bye-bye.